National Provincial Championship Final started in 1992, and for the second year in a row we're at Jade Stadium for the First Division finale. Canterbury and Otago had never previously met each other in the final, but both have had success. Canterbury in 1997, Otago a year later. Tonight they meet on a soft Jade Stadium after some very heavy rain during the day here in Christchurch, but a capacity crowd of 28,000 in attendance. They have increased the capacity, as you've seen, with parts of the new Western Stand in commission. So it's certainly the biggest crowd of the season on a cool night here in Christchurch. Canterbury, of course, beating Auckland in the semi-final, and Otago disposing of North Harbour. What a scene it is here, with great expectation. Huge number of people have come up from further south supporting the Otago side, but of course the vast majority of people in the ground will be supporting the local heroes, Canterbury. Before the two sides come onto the field, an opportunity to welcome our millions of viewers around the world watching this NPC final this evening as we look into the Otago dressing room. Sky Sport in Britain, Fox Sport Australia, Fox Sports World North America, J Sport in Japan, Super Sport through Mnet in South Africa, viewers in the Pacific Islands, and of course the Chatham Islands. We're watching this game on Sky Sport here in New Zealand as the Otago side run onto the field here at Jade Stadium for the final, led out by their captain, Tane Randall. And they get the expected welcome too. The Otago forward pack boasts just 3 All Blacks, but one man who may join them tomorrow morning is the big number 8, Paul Miller. These conditions are made to order for Miller. He'll carry the ball up to the Canterbury defence all night. His powerful running is certain to be an asset. Tane Randall leads Otago, even though Anton Oliver is in the team. Peter Alatini is missing tonight, but there's still plenty of talent in the back line, which will be launched by Byron Callagher. The All Black number 9 outplayed Mark Robinson last week, and his focus tonight will be on his great rival, Justin Marshall. Positional change for Jeff Wilson. He goes to fullback with Hayden Reid and Brendan Lady in his last game for Otago on the wings. Mapusua playing in the number 12 jersey in place of Peter Alatini. So Seilala Mapusua, big night for him. Now, just listen to the reception these guys get. The curtain comes down tonight here on a great provincial career for Canterbury's favourite son, Todd Blackadder. They just love him down this way. And what a fairy tale ending it'll be if he can lead the Red and Blacks to victory in the NPC Final to go along with retaining the Ranfurly Shield. Last year's All Black captain heads to Scotland in a few weeks' time. If he needed to prove anything, Andrew Mehrtens has shown during the NPC that he's clearly the top number 10 in the country. Mehrtens has been in his dominant best in the past 6 weeks, and in these greasy conditions we can expect his tactical kicking to play a big part in the match. A big game too for Justin Marshall as he looks to counter the challenge of Byron Callagher. So it's all set up. The two best sides have come together in this final, and Murray Mexted, there's wonderful expectation. The two South Island teams.
Yes, it's a South Island deal, and aren't they just delighted about it? Just talking to the South Islanders since we've been down here, just watching Blackadder run onto the field. The Canterbury team stayed back in the tunnel to allow him to run onto the field by himself, but typically humble as he is, Blackadder, charismatically humble. He stopped and waited for his team. He didn't run out all the way by himself. He's been a great leader, a great servant in this true team sport.
Now we stand by for the national anthem. Plenty of emotion attached to the game here tonight, with players from both sides heading away at the end of the season, and of course also the Canterbury coach Steve Hansen. Paul Honus of Waikato will referee the final here tonight. Kelvin Deaker and Colin Hawke will run the touchlines, and Steve Walsh is the video referee. And Otago will have the advantage of what is quite a light southerly. In fact, we could probably get a quick word from Stu Wilson sideline. That wind won't be that significant, Stu.
No, Nisbo, what's just happened to the rain has just eased off. We actually got cleared probably the nicest part of the whole evening.
Okay,
but it
mate?
is cold and it's wet on top. It will be slippery. And we're in for a wonderful, wonderful 80 minutes of Division 1 final.
We certainly are, Stu. Stand by. NPC First Division Final for the year 2001. And Tony Brown gets us underway. Richard McCaw calls early tackle on him, I think. Yes, it is.
Leave him, please.
And the first penalty goes against Otago over exuberance from the Otago players.
Either that or an early message.
The kick downfield is not out. And Paul Miller going back, but it's with Jeff Wilson. And Wilson puts a solid hoof into this one.
Okay.
And it's nicely taken in the finish by Leon McDonald. Now he's kicking into the southerly river. He's getting good distance. So we can assume that the wind is not that significant. Tony Brown also inside the 22, and that's another big kick. So it's a game of chess early on. Mehrtens, he'll kick as well. Now this will hold up in the wind. And Tane Randall looks to line it up. Play on, says the referee, and Blackadder has to tidy up for Canterbury. 5 metres on their own side of halfway. Marshall takes it out for McDonald, who came up in the line. No, in fact, it was Aaron Major. And honours go to Canterbury in the early exchanges as Aaron Major drives it inside the 22.
Yes, everybody very conscious of field position as this game started off very, very obvious. That's Blackadder tidying up the loose ball, but really it did become a game of jockeying for positions, because we noticed that both Wilson and Mehrtens both went to kick before even looking and assessing the situation, so they knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to get down in territory, and Canterbury won the battle, the first battle.
First throw for Anton Oliver goes short to Filippo Levy, who comes down nicely with it. Getting a good drive on here, Otago, and then Keller is challenged by Marshall, and the kick drifting down over the touchline, and the touch judge has the flag up. That's Colin Hawke, about 15 out from the 22.
I think he'd be pretty disappointed, actually, I would say, Byron Kelleher. But it was a great drive from Otago. It was taken well. They all moved the ball to the back of the drive and produced ball going forward for Kelleher. Perfect ball.
Thank you.
As Stu Wilson mentioned, it's the nicest part of the day. The rain has stopped, and there's not a great deal of wind around, really untidy, but you can see the water lying on the surface as the players are funded towards the ball. And so it is going to become a little bit difficult on occasions.
Let's just cool it.
Well, that's Sam Harding that knocked that ball
Crouch
forward.
and hold, red scrum.
But he had the pressure right on Marshall. I noticed in the move before he slowed down so that he didn't knock it on, but I guess it was the temptation that he saw, the opportunity to snaffle the ball.
Advantage for Otago in terms of weight. Marshall for Mehrtens. They'll be testing Jeff Wilson, making him run across on the angle. He's outside the 22, and a well-timed tackle by Caleb Ralph, but nice work by Brendan Laney.
Yeah, good work by Laney, but great work by Jeff Wilson. He took the ball and the defender at the same time, the tackler at the same time. Have a look at this. He jumped up so he'd get the ball before contact.
It's on the Otago side for Kelleher. He goes short to Paul Miller. They'll use Miller a lot to thump the ball up. Kelleher drives it down again. Caleb Ralph finding space for Leon McDonald. McDonald's dangerous from these situations. Got away from a couple. Supports there from Scott Robertson. Nice transfer away to Major. Now Joe Maddock. And the ball has been lost forward. But a pushing and shoving off the ball.
Well, Leon McDonald, so dangerous. When he received the ball, he looked like he was going to kick, and this is what happened. He didn't kick, did he? What a great counter-attack. Robertson handing off, and then the unmarked man, Maddock, on the outside.
Crouch and hold. Engage.
Joe McDonnell on this side for Otago against Greg Somerville.
Too much effort before the ball comes in.
Well, it's just going to be so interesting, this front row, Nisbo. There's so many players there competing. Incredible how Feek today will tell Feek's tale, I'm sure, of whether he makes this All Black side.
Wait.
Because he's marking an informed Case Hughes.
Please. Hold it steady and square over the mark. Thanks, guys.
Case Hughes obviously played his way back. Well, he looks like he's played his way back into the All Black team.
Big kick by Tony Brown. Maddock having to scramble back inside his 22. McDonald sums up the options, and you can see something happening here. Pass wasn't too good. And Otago have Canterbury trapped here, just out from the 22, but they've got it. Marshall, hounded by Kelleher. That'll be a great battle to keep an eye on. They've been going 5 minutes already at each other's throats. Marshall gets up and delivers again for Mehrtens. Holding back here is Ryan Nicholas, this impressive centre three-quarter. Off it goes to Hayden Reid. That's the halfway line.
Here it is.
And it should come on the Otago side.
Here it is. It's a morgue on the ground. Play on.
Oh, Canterbury snaffled it.
Stolen it, yeah. Now Mehrtens
Advantage.
pushes it in behind. The referee was playing an advantage.
Offside.
And it's offside against Otago.
Well, there were two rucks that Canterbury won. They turned them over.
7.
The first one when Otago forced a tackle midfield after failing to find touch on the penalty. That was Otago's chance. They never did it. Canterbury got more numbers there. And that second one that you've just seen, where they stole the ball once again, just getting numbers there ahead of Otago.
Another step at ruck time. Another step.
Andrew Mehrtens receiving attention, so Aaron Major takes the kick.
So this is where the Canterbury made the turnover here. You see, they shouldn't have got that, but they did. It was Robertson. It was great work by Robertson. He was on his feet and it was called a maul by the ref.
Playing advantage, Scott Robertson was impeded as he jumped.
No advantage, pulling down at line out time.
Yes, he was impeded, and he also let the referee know loud and clear. In fact, the ball, well, he kissed the ball.
From you, okay, there's a shot, fellas.
So we come to the first scoring opportunity of the game. Canterbury with Andrew Mehrtens. Kick of about 35 metres. And he really has been in superb form in recent weeks. Mehrtens, 18 points last week. And he's come back into the sort of form that has made him the All Black number 10 since 1995.
Yes, he is running hot. He has proved a point once again. Stu, has he got the wind behind him here?
Well, Murray, it's just deathly quiet down here. I mean, there's no wind at all.
Beautifully judged kick. Canterbury draw first blood in the final. Mehrtens the penalty goal, and they lead by 3-0.
So Canterbury really have played the majority inside Otago territory. They were rewarded. So often early in the game there are penalties. Both sides settling down, referee also.
Again, it's Richard McCaw, the designated catcher. Takes it almost to the 22. Marshall. Miller's stayed back, but Marshall's got a bit more grunt into the kick. That's a great kick. Nothing much Miller could do about that. It drifted across the touchline.
He lost it though. He lost the sight of the ball in the air.
Line out formed. Line out formed. We have 2 from each team here.
Well, maybe it moved away, but
Okay,
it was a judgment issue.
Again, please.
So the wind is not a big factor, not as big as we imagined it was going to be. Anton Oliver hit Filippo Levy first time up. Might look a bit further back this time. He goes over the top, right over the top, and gets no one at all. Snapped up by McCaw for Canterbury, making all the early running. The red and blacks. Now it's Blackadder, and the roar goes up for Todd Blackadder. 10-metre line Otago territory. Marshall for Aaron Major. Again, the test. Laney waiting this time inside the 22. and in the end quite comfortable, Brendan Laney.
Well, it was a strange body position, wasn't it, to mark the ball? Once again, the movement of the ball, I think, in the air forced them into doing that sort of ballerina act. Whoa!
Poor kick, though. Infield it goes for Mehrtens. Has a look across, but Tony Brown, he knows the score, anticipated the kick from Mehrtens, and now he can unleash down to Aaron Major. Cross now for Leon McDonald. Now it's Major. 8 metres on the Canterbury side of halfway, and there's a penalty coming up here. Referee's playing advantage.
Hands away! First one here, 12. Holding on, you've got isolators.
And Aaron Major didn't release in time. And so here's Tony Brown's first chance.
Well, it was a double penalty, that one. The ref was playing advantage because Hayden Reid dived on possession, but Canterbury again playing the ball in the ruck. So they went back to the first penalty, so it gives Tony Brown a bit of a chance. So, Stu, how do you think it all is down there?
Well, I was very surprised that Leon McDonald took off from that early counter-attack, but that's typical of what they do, and I'm sure that Laurie Mains would have said two things to his side that we must never do when we play Canterbury. One, concede turnovers, and two, have very loose, sloppy kicks around the track, because you'll be punished with the counter-ability of the Canterbury team.
I bet Laurie said more than just two things, though, Stu. I've got a
only
feeling.
two things that I'll listen to.
Well, there he is.
Greg Cooper and Wayne Graham. Now let's have a look. Tony Brown starting it away to the right, hoping to bring it back, but not able to do so. Well, he didn't quite judge the wind right, and it remains 3-0 Canterbury. Now Miller gets a chance to get ahead of steam up. He's a big, powerful runner. Gets past a tackle from Maxwell. Carried on by Anton Oliver. Now it's Callagher to Brown. Otago want to do some early kicking as well. McDonald, any pressure on him? Yes, it's coming from Nicholas. Knocked on, and here's an opportunity snapped up by Sam Harding. And it was knocked on both ways in the finish. First by Leon McDonald.
Well, Sam Harding, he's a new boy in the block. We often talk about the players that are moving overseas, but this NPC's a marvellous competition. It turns up young men like Sam Harding, who we've never heard of before. There's so many in this game. Sam Harding, Ryan Nicholas, Aaron and Nathan Major, Richard McCaw. All new names, all new boys in the blocks, all played well.
Scrum comes up, but Miller gets a chance to go. Inside the 22. Callagher looks to dig it out. Now does so for Brown. Short to Wilson. Not really going anywhere at the moment, Otago.
No, but they're drawing Canterbury across the touchline.
Now Brown, back to Anton Oliver. Went back.
He's okay! There it is.
Should come on the Otago side again. Now there's a bit of room. Nicholas has a drop kick for Otago, and Ryan Nicholas has put Otago on the boards.
Well, that's fairly unconventional. The Canterbury crowd don't like it. I don't know why, because it was a double steal. I'm not sure who it was, but it was stolen by Robertson first of all, and then somehow popped back on the Otago side. And then have a look at this. Kabumba. He only had one player outside him. You see, there were 3 Canterbury players, Stu.
Yeah, he just didn't have the numbers, so it was the good option.
3-3 in the final. Mehrtens with the restart. Misjudged by Otago, but Canterbury have knocked it on as they came through. Callagher looks to get away from Marshall. And referee, well, it's over by the sound of things. And Tony Brown down to Caleb Ralph. Lovely pass to McDonald. Laney coming across. These players know each other so well. There's always someone running into position to accept these kicks.
Oh, the anticipation was just fantastic there. We've seen it already in this game. We saw Tony Brown reading Mehrtens, as you say. And that time, I think that Brendan Laney he read it before it even happened.
Yeah, please, Blue.
Tony Brown against Andrew Mehrtens, just one of the fascinating matchups in this final.
Well, it is, but I don't think it's Mehrtens he's competing against. I think it's Carlos Spencer for the All Black berth.
Reuben Thorne this time, clearly. Now it's Aaron Major. Drops it on his foot. Laney waits. 10 out from the 22. Otago got back very well on defence, and out the back of the ruck came Leon McDonald. In good old Otago fashion, Mehrtens tips it back inside the 22. He can't kick this out on the full. So here he goes with the wipers kick. This time it's Nicholas who's got across. He can kick with the left foot as well. That's encouraging, having drop kicked with the right. Aaron Major. Nicholas goes after Mehrtens. Nicholas claims there was a bit of shepherding going on there, but Paul Owner said no. Now Mapusua, his first opportunity. Referee's playing advantage. Good strong run by Sailala Mapusua.
Hands away, it's a ruck!
Otago getting themselves back into this game. Drops it onto the foot again. McDonald anticipates outstandingly well. A lot of movement in the game. As Marshall back for Aaron Major. Back goes Laney, and Randall is with him. The chasers are a fair way away at this stage, and Laney's got plenty of time.
And he duffed it. Well, that's what Canterbury wanted. The mistake deep in their territory. Otago having a great little period of play, dominating possession, keeping hold of it. Ball security a couple of times. The kicks were read by Canterbury. One little kick over the top. Shouldn't have happened, I think, from Tony Brown. It was really well read by Leon McDonald. Didn't they punish it? Here it is. Look at it. Canterbury ball opportunity. So looking at the stats, they'll probably throw it to the middle. This is where Canterbury are winning most of their ball during the year.
Matt Sexton's line-out throwing has been quite outstanding. This time he hits Scott Robertson, but Paul Miller's got him there.
What he's done is actually, it's use it or lose it. So there's Byron Keller saying to the referee, ref, they haven't used it, it's held up there. That's Miller holding it.
Let the ball go, 8! Here it is, half. Leave it 5. Hold back 5.
Slapping there from Norm Maxwell, nothing to write home about. Aaron Major, Nathan Major, intercept Tony Brown. Now has he got the legs? He's got to try and link up. Can't find anybody. Now it's Mapusua has knocked it on. And the big breakout from Otago. They just couldn't link up Tony Brown.
Well, it's heartbreaking stuff. Tony Brown, not quite the top speed. He's got the acceleration, but have a look here. Great anticipation through the hole. This is where he had to be able to open it up. He's running against 3/4, of course. Beautifully read. He watched the play. Now, there had to be someone looming up outside him, and they were both Canterbury players.
Yeah, I think the pass he needed to go on the inside, Murray, but he obviously didn't hear Sam Harding's support call, but that was a nice little move that Canterbury played. It was the double wraparound from Mehrtens, and with the runner coming from centre through to take it, but just didn't execute it well.
Replacement player on the field there, Grant Webb has come on. Paul Miller has gone to the sideline.
Square, please.
Well, he's a good footballer, Grant Webb. I've seen him in the last couple of weeks.
No locks, just
quite
wait.
a powerful rugby player.
Just wait.
So Miller having a disruptive time with injury. It seems to continue.
Murray, I think he's off for a blood bin.
For a what, Stu?
He's off for the blood bin.
Thank you.
So he'll be back.
He'll be back.
Stood up, fellas. Let's get our angles right, please. Let's get our angles right.
Scrums.
Nice and square.
Well,
It's okay. Just crouch and hold.
How it unfolds on the video screen.
Engage.
Scrum down again.
On down far side, fellas. Let you slip, guys. I can't tell from the side.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? Ref moves around the other side.
Just come away, fellas. Yeah, you've torn the turf up there,
Speaking
guys.
of whom, Paul Honus started well in this game. He's allowed the game to be played.
How about we get a bit closer together, please? Crouch and hold.
Light rain falling at Jade Stadium as we're getting close to halfway through the first spell in the First Division Final. Robertson, very complicated move here at the back.
I think it was the pressure that was put on them by Otago at the scrum time. Really did make it difficult for them.
Maxwell fighting his way up to the 10-metre line. Now it's Robertson, who's had a very good season, but he gets hit hard this time. Marshall, Gallagher's after him. Oh, a bit of interference there, I'm sure of that. But again, Honus lets it go. Now, Mehrtens. This time they haven't read it so well. And it's Hayden Reid having to get back. He's got Wilson on the inside.
Holding, Blue, holding.
Wilson's kicked down to his opposite,
Okay,
Leon
right
McDonald. Fielded by Robertson, spreading the ball at every opportunity. Now Nathan Major almost got through, but Nicholas did a good job. Ball lost by Canterbury. It's going to get quite slippery.
Release a tree. No advantage.
And there was no advantage there. And so back we go. Otago scrum.
Jeez, he's strong, that Byron Gallagher. It's amazing the way he pounced. He saw Greg Somerville going back, picking up the ball, and he just hit him. He just drove into him. Gallagher, the powerhouse number 9 on top of his game. Had a bit of a break though, didn't he, in the early part of the NPC?
He's got a foot injury. But at least Canterbury scrum this time. It seems to be that the team that hasn't the ball in the scrum.
Let's try and keep it square before the ball comes in, please.
Actually, that was interesting. Otago got dealt to in the scrum that time, and I think that Gallagher put it in, but he had to put it in really, because I think the referee said you got to get it in, but no one likes to put it in when your front row's going backwards.
With a messy start in the scrums, we've had 5 resets and 8.
So Canterbury had a go at breaking them. That was Somerville putting the heat on his opponent, Joe McDonnell. I think they must figure that's one area to target, and he didn't quite make it. Looked like he was going to break through, and then the Otago scrum seemed to stiffen up. And then, of course, what happened, it popped. And so the blame. Now have a little look at this. Now, there's Somerville putting the heat on big time now. All of a sudden, McDonnell answered the call, and Somerville goes up. I think that was not being an expert, of course, in the front row, I think that was a correct call by Paul Honus. I won't ask you, Stu, you wouldn't know about that.
Not my area. And ball lost forward by Byron Gallagher.
Red ball.
Well, these two sides met on September the 15th at Carisbrook, and Canterbury that night were absolutely on fire. 62-19. Richie McCaw scored 3 tries in the first half, but it's all of it different here tonight. We're halfway through the first spell, and it's 3-3 at the moment. Mehrtens calling out at least Nathan Major in. Taken down by Sam Harding.
Yeah, but they broke the line.
Here comes a big tackle on Norm Maxwell, so Hayden Reid can tidy up. The man who dumped Maxwell was Mapu Sua.
Here it is. Still playing advantage, Blue. Hold.
So the advantage still applies. There's Mapu Sua. He's going to do the kicking.
No advantage. Lost forward, Red.
Not a particularly good one.
No, I think he should have put his head down, had a go. Well, it is a loss, of course. Peter Alatini pulled out with a hamstring strain prior to the game.
Well done, guys.
This is his replacement.
Grant, Paul Miller will be back on the track now. He was actually in the blood bin for a busted up nose, so they've patched that up.
So they patched up the busted up nose.
Oh, yeah, you know, look, he's from the aggression department, Murray, so, you know, that just comes with the job, I suppose. Broken nose and stuff.
It's part of the deal. I think every forward's had 3 or 4 of them in his career.
Keep it down.
How many noses you got?
Yeah, but the easy things to break. Once you broke them the first time, there's just a bang and she's broken again. Very painful too, extremely painful.
Well, there's Miller. He wants to have a run with the ball.
Come on, buddy, I want you square.
And this time it's Greg Feek. So
come down on your size. I want you
Feek gets penalised, so does Somerville.
I want some cooperation, please.
And Tony Brown eyes up a possible shot at goal. It's a long way out. In fact, Jeff Wilson's coming up now. Maybe Wilson will have a crack from here.
Well, that's twice it's gone down on Feek's side when they've been putting the ball in, when Canterbury have been putting the ball in. So that suggests to me that maybe Case Muse is doing the business over there.
Well, he's certainly back in form, Case Muse. There's another player that's had real injury problems.
So I'd say he did. I think we could see that, even though the angle was a little bit on the Canterbury side of the scrum. I think it showed that Muse was putting the business on him.
Oliver lobs it in. Mailing just got a hand to it. Now Sam Harding.
Right, Joes, I'm impressed with Sam Harding's growth in this NPC.
Looking to go blindside with Muse. Powerful runner, Case Muse, and he's got a good turn of pace when he gets the opportunity. Now they go through the back line. Miller standing out wide, but they're well aware of the danger of Paul Miller.
Well, he was monstered.
Roll away, 8, roll away.
He didn't even break the advantage line.
Well, it's all on here. Well, Paul Miller's already had his nose broken. Maybe sorted out who did it. And he thought, here's my chance.
Well, no, someone was having a go at him, obviously. He got up really upset. In fact, we can see the blood on his face.
Come here, right? Come here. Come here.
So there's Miller going in. So what have we got? We've got Maxwell Robertson, who drags him down.
Just wait here. You wait here as well.
Looked like maybe it might have been Robertson, the villain. And there's Paul Miller trying to get retribution, but he couldn't find his head. It wasn't me, ref.
Just come here, please. Come here. Number 8. Number 8. Just wait here. I was standing at the back of the ruck there. You were holding on to him for some reason. I'm not sure why. Well, I'm not sure whether that happened before or afterwards, okay? There was punches exchanged, all right? Now, let's just get some composure, okay? The game's been going great till now. I know he's got a stitch, I got a cut above his eye, okay? All right? Let's just relax both of it. No. We're going to start the game with a scrum, all right? It's going to be your ball. Let's get some composure from both you guys. You're obviously going to need some injury, all right? Let's get on with it, please, skippers.
Well, they shook hands. Oh, I don't know about that. But chivalry? Is that chivalry? No, that's not chivalry, is it?
No, that's foolery. Anyway, let's get on with it. So Grant Webb comes back. There is Webb, away for Kelleher. Kelleher's in the gap. Looking to hand off McDonald. Great tackle by the fullback. Ball is there, taken by Blackadder. Canterbury have possession. And Marshall for Mehrtens under a lot of pressure. And it wasn't deemed to be a late tackle. A bit hard to stop on these conditions.
Well, Stu, you'll have to talk to us about that break of Kelleher. Where was the wing?
Well, the scrum was excellent to start with, Murray. And as you know, if your scrum's good, your number 8 and halfback can work together. The wing was out wide, but there's just a big gap there. Ruben Thorne was there, but the cover tackle from Leon McDonald was made.
And who was that? Richie McCaw that got to the loose ball.
Simon Mayling back for Oliver. Now it's Webb. He's also a big, powerful number 8 forward. Now Kelleher. Head down and straight ahead goes Harding. Now it's Anton Oliver. Good period of attack here from Otago. Keeping it blindside for Jeff Wilson. Taken down by Sexton. Ball bounces clear, but the ball was held onto by Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, correct decision, Paul Honus. Jeff Wilson, unfortunately, hit double movement. He had to play it straight away. Watch him. He got tackled. He's on the wrong side. He couldn't get it away, and then all of a sudden he tried to flick it up. He really had to, I guess he just had to lie there and wait for punishment. Oh, look at that.
Let's move down, please.
Very, very closely contested this game. Well, so many people before the game thought it was just Canterbury turning up. There was no way it's like that. Otago on the charge.
Knock on. Tony Brown snaps it up. Otago have another great chance.
It's over. Release. It's a ruck.
Ball is there.
Hold back.
Now Mapusua. Oliver didn't knock it on.
Hands away.
Again takes it to ground.
That's a ruck. Last feet.
Kelleher signalling the troops. Gets it back. Laney looked as though he was having a drop kick. Now Reid. Wilson. Back to Reid. Canterbury defence resolute.
Yes, Canterbury just getting numbers to the ball ahead of Otago. Otago seem to have 1, maybe 2. Now Canterbury seem to have about 4. That seems to be the difference there to me. That happened when he was actually went into first point of contact. I saw Brown. Let's have a look here. So he intercepted, picked up the ball just to have a look. It's about here it happened. Oh yes, you can see him. His right arm went up. I think that'll be a knee or something like that perhaps. But this is the end of it. Hayden Reid, well, he'd be a big loss. But I would say that is a problem. I don't think we'll see Tony Brown here for the remainder of this game. What a tragedy for this young man.
So here's Dan Parkinson coming on. Brendan Laney will go to first 5-8, one would imagine. And this will require a reshuffle.
Yeah, Brendan Laney into the first 5-8 spot.
Crouch and hold.
Well, how that changes its tune. They've now lost their first 5-8 and second 5-8 combination.
Engage.
And their number 8 off at the moment as well. But they're putting the heat on Canterbury. They're right in there, in their face sort of stuff.
Closer together, fellas, please. We need a little bit closer together, thanks. Crouch and hold. Engage.
Gallagher for Laney. Laney has a drop kick, and Laney puts it through. Second drop kick, and Otago leads.
Well, I so often use the word mercurial about Brendan Laney, but he seems to something just seems to have something. It just happens when he touches the ball. He's been a big try scorer this year. He's snivelled through gaps and won games. I mean, he comes into first 5-8, first time he touches the ball, and he just nails it straight down the middle as though it was a practice kick.
Andrew Mehrtens gets us going again. Tipped up for Oliver. 15 out from the 22. Gallagher didn't have anybody to give it to. Had to take it back in.
It's another rack. On your feet, please. Okay, stay back here, guys.
Now Laney, challenged by Marshall. Staying back is Ralph. Very treacherous underfoot at times.
Oh, great tackle, Sam Harding. Once
Oh,
again,
he's
there's
thrown
the
it
ball.
away. That's bad play. Somehow McDonald has got it back.
Accidental. Slow it down. Yellow ball.
So Otago back in the territory. Well, this man, he's coming up with his backs on D. He's one guy that's really focused on this game. His mind is sharp, we can see. Just in there, doing the business. Open side flanker. In fact, his much vaunted opponent this year, Richie McCaw, is, I think, well, he's definitely shading Richie McCaw so far in this game.
Webb, chased by Robertson. There it is.
On its feet.
Played on the ground.
That's just the gap that's just a little bit too long, I guess, when you've got possession. There was one Otago player over the top trying to drive the Cantabrians away. So let's have a little look at this. So it was set up quite well, but you see there's no one really there. Just poor old Tane Randall all by his lonesome, trying to get Richie McCaw, who was doing the open side job, out. But there were 3 or 4 other Cantabrians.
Reuben Thorne has it for Canterbury.
Smuggling it towards the rear. And the drive starts. The first one we've seen from Canterbury.
That's it, thanks, way to go.
Still moving. There it is with McCaw at the back. Will he have a go from here? No, they're keeping it tight.
He's okay.
Isolated.
Play on.
Well, that's indecision by Canterbury is going to cost them here.
Play on. No offsides.
Laney. Just on the Otago side of halfway. Now Mapusua. He's played pretty strongly so far.
Thank you.
The replacement for Peter Alatini.
Leave him.
Jeff Wilson. Oh, that's pretty average sort of a kick.
Okay.
And Leon McDonald has Laney scrambling back. He's got all the time in the world here though, Laney. And he'll make no mistake this time.
Mehrtens going for the quick one here.
Well, they're a little bit quiet on the bank, Canterbury fans. I think they were told so often during the week that this was going to be a bit of a blowout.
And that was McCaw getting isolated from his forwards. It was such a good drive, and somehow he got isolated. And Otago just took that little hesitation, that moment, that isolation, put pressure on him, and then the ball was free.
Holding 2 hands.
Blackadder with a clean take. As Canterbury now try and get this driving play going. It's taken them half an hour.
Let's go, you can't stay there, mate. Why you go? Thank you.
There's nothing like the two-handed take to start the drive.
Mehrtens for Aaron Major. Levy has to make the tackle on him. Now it's a Maxwell. 5 metres in the Otago side of halfway. Mehrtens turns it back inside. So Leon McDonald, who's come up into the close quarter stuff. Aaron Major to his brother Nathan. They're running behind the advantage line. Now Greg Feek, they've lost it. They're not on song, Canterbury. Chance here for Otago. Nicholas, clever kick. Now the chase is on. Marshall. Beautifully done by Justin Marshall, but can he release the ball? He does so. And offside against Mapusua.
Well, we saw a deft touch by Nicholas. Ryan Nicholas, what a beautiful. He sensed the moment and held the ball just long enough and punched the kick. Well, those are the touches that show the class.
A timely penalty for Canterbury. Well, he's a classy player.
So have a look at this. Well, in context, it looked better the first time. But he just held it long enough just to let the gap open and then the kick through.
There's been some changes made, Tony Nisbo, sorry, with the midfield of Otago. Now, number 12, Salala Mapusua is off, and 21, George Leapepe is on the track. And Paul Miller is just about ready to re-enter the game, and the latest on Tony Brown is it is his left ankle that's gone.
That goes to Reuben Thorne. Marshall's got a bit of room this time. Robertson. 5 metres in Otago territory. Marshall for Mehrtens. Chased, hounded in fact.
Mehrtens setting it up, and there it is at the back. Flat ball.
Forced to do a fair bit of kicking. No room through that Otago defence. Reed getting back.
Okay, thank you.
Back comes Paul Miller. He's had a couple of spells on the sideline. Grant Webb goes back to the bench.
So Paul Miller strapped up and ready to go.
Ball falls for Oliver. Gallagher not under any pressure. Gets the kick away. Maddock lining it up. A very much improved player, Joe Maddock. Now Leon McDonald coming up very fast. Caleb Ralph looking to get into a gap. Now the intercept. Sam Harding. What sort of pace has he got? They're getting across. He puts the little kick, and what a clever one. And Lady gets the try. What a brilliant try, Otago.
Outstanding try. We even got a smile from Laurie Maines. Can't believe it. But Sam Harding, once again, the intercept. He thought he could do it. He backed himself to go the distance. Then he saw he couldn't make it, and he assessed the situation perfectly. You know, decision-making so important in this game of rugby. Now have a look at here. Caleb Ralph having a go. Great tackle. Leapepe it was, and Harding was there where he should have been. Now Laney's inside him. All of a sudden Harding realised he's not going to make it. That's Maddock coming across, but what a kick. Check it out. The bounce, and Laney, of course.
Brendan Laney, eh? Chainsaw. Last game for Otago. And it's Sam Harding. Well, is the more improved player around than this guy in the number 7 jersey for Otago. Now Laney to convert this from right out in front, and this will give Otago a pretty significant lead of 13 points to 3. Sam Harding set it up.
Well, this breakout, Murray, was a result of another breakdown in the Canterbury backline. Their support players too wide of the ball carrier, and no one's running on in depth, and that's the second and third time that Otago have pinched one in the tackle situation.
But it also epitomises the importance of a classic open side flanker, a specialist open side. Now that's what we've got here today, 2 specialists. And they're there for any little mistake, like you speak of, Stu. And then they can punish.
It's a ruck!
Almost broke down there. The Otago players all stood around and had a look at each other. And they've lost the ball forward. So Brendan Laney comes up with his 11th try of the season to equal Nathan Major. And is also now the all-time top try scorer in playoff rugby in any division with 9 tries. Scott Robertson short to Leon McDonald. Canterbury are sure to come back and come back pretty hard. Marshall for Mehrtens. Blackadder. If they're looking for inspiration, he's the bloke to take it up. Marshall offside against Harding as Nathan Major runs it up. If he's still playing advantage, will Paul Honus. And of course, Justin Marshall's a seasoned campaigner. He knows that if he kicks it, it might be a try, but there again, we'll take the penalty anyway.
Yes,
right out in front.
The right decision. Canterbury coming back with a vengeance. They have to. So often they like it, of course, Canterbury. When they're stung, they respond. Yeah, so Harding penalised them for being up in front of the line. And that's the thing about the open side flanker. So often he has to be in front of the advantage line. But normally it's when his side's got the ball, not when the opposition side's got the ball. That's the idea of the open side. He sticks in front, anticipates a breakthrough, and then he's right there.
Pretty easy for Andrew Mehrtens. So he goes to 100 points in NPC playoff games. And Canterbury come back straight away, as you'd expect them to do. 13 points to 6.
Well, the latest with Tony Brown, Grant, is that he's not back. He was finished for the night. All packed up, ready to go home.
Well, that's a real shame. And I wonder how that'll impact on a possible tour with the All Blacks. All that to be sorted out in the next day or so, of course. As Laney restarts, McCaw takes it off to Robertson. Now Mehrtens chased down by Kelleher. Forced him onto his left boot. Now Miller. Holding back a long way. Now he comes up. He's a big, powerful, charging bull, Paul Miller.
He took it up well.
Laney looks as though he's to the manner born. Just lobs it into the corner.
Well, I think he's a big match man, Brendan Laney. You know, he does all sorts of things. Sometimes they're terrible, but mostly he does miraculous things.
Murray, he's a very, very good rugby player, and the good thing about it, he enjoys his job as a pro footballer, and he's got some skills, and he's got great vision. He knows how a game unfolds.
Matt Sexton, well, that's a bit of balking going on there, but fortunately for Matt Sexton, the referee's going to get him to throw it again.
Yes, you're right, Stu. He enjoys being a rugby player. He enjoys on and off the field. He's a delightful character. In fact, he's a colourful character that we don't like to lose, really. So,
you think we should forewarn Edinburgh that he's coming?
Well, I think they'll find out. No, they'll love him up there.
That's won by Otago. So a poor throw this time by Matt Sexton. And there it is for Kelleher. Laney up to Laupepe. George Laupepe, who's played in a final here before against Canterbury for Counties back in 1997. Now it's short to Case Muse. Goal line is just there. Kelleher will be dangerous from here, Kelleher, and very close.
Well, it was Marshall that stopped them too. Those halfbacks are on top of each other.
Oh, he's so powerful that he can get it low, and he very nearly slipped through.
And the question was the ball up or down? Honus said it was down. Yes, well, you see, the reason why it is because Kelleher's got the ball and his back's on the ground. The ball doesn't actually have to be on the ground for it to be a ruck. So therefore, that's why Otago got the ball going in.
Outstanding defence by Justin Marshall.
Engage.
Time up in the first spell. Kelleher blindside, head down again.
Let him play it! Come back, Reds!
There it is for Case Muse.
Last feet, Reds, the ruck!
Anton Oliver's going to have a crack.
Well, the defence is there.
Offside!
Offside against Canterbury though. So Dan Parkinson releases up. Laney for Laupepe.
Let him play it!
There's an early tackle, so we'll go back and take the original penalty. And this will be a shot at goal, no doubt, by Brendan Laney.
I guess it will be. It's 41 minutes on the clock, so I guess you'd have to take the 3 points, but really Otago desperate there to score the try. Had they got the try, of course, it would have been something special.
Well, Brendan Laney tonight has had a try, we've had a drop kick, we've had a conversion. All that remains now is a penalty. That's the only other way you can score in rugby.
Yeah, and if you make up a new way, you'll probably do that as well.
Well, I guess he would. But no one else has ever done it. He's having a bit of a yarn there with Matt Sexton.
Yeah. It was a private story, I think. One of those little magic moments.
Nobody else has scored in all 4 ways in any final in any division, Murray. So Brendan Laney.
How do you know things like that, Nisbo?
Research, Murray. Caps off an excellent first half for Otago. The yellow and blue flags are waving here at Jade Stadium because Otago have a 10-point lead at the break. Jade Stadium in Christchurch, First Division NPC Final. And Otago have scored the only try of the final so far. 16-6 they lead. And we're almost set to go. Second 40 minutes. Paul Honus blows the whistle and it's underway. Paul Miller waits for Otago. And Miller makes a powerful charge out towards the 22-metre line. And Kelleher bangs it away downfield. Caleb Ralph has waited back. He's got McDonald with him. Canterbury have the wind behind them, or the breeze behind them in the second half, as Ralph is dragged down in the tackle, still in Canterbury territory. Mehrtens quickly puts it on the boot, and that's a clever kick by Andrew Mehrtens.
Well, Mehrtens, yeah, terrific. But that was really well done by Caleb Ralph. He's the sort of player that doesn't very often do something wrong, you know. He seems to get it right all the time. He was tackled there. It was well driven, and the ball really should have been killed by Otago, and somehow he managed to get the thing over his head back on the Canterbury side. And the result is Mehrtens could place it where he wanted to, and that's what he's done.
Numbers.
So the pressure on Otago here, they have to secure their own ball.
14!
Vital stage of the game.
Simon Mayling is very much the money man for Otago in the lineouts. Kelleher's going to once again make the kick. Again it's drifting, and Ralph will be doing well to catch it. He did. Back for McCaw. And Canterbury have controlled this well. Now Marshall away from Mehrtens, and he's knocked it on. Went for the slip catch and knocked it on.
There was some great play there by Canterbury, I thought. Several phases of it. Excellent, really. I mean, the Mehrtens dive on the loose ball. I mean, it was a bad pass and he covered it. Well, just about covered it.
Sorry, what's the problem?
But really, Richie McCaw started. He did really well. He was hitting 2 tackles and he seemed to sort of bounce off like a billiard ball out of both of them and set it up going forward.
It's okay, just wait.
Intensity in the eyes.
Engage. Grips. 3. Angle, yes. On the angle. No.
Yeah, now you see, I think that's unnecessary.
You went on the angle.
You know, the ball, it was good scrum. The ball was back, well delivered. And Honus came in on a technicality, suggesting that Muse had driven in on an angle. Well, I think when it's your ball, what you've got to do is secure a good ball, and that's your most important thing.
Well, he's got it wrong there, hasn't he? I mean, Muse was being driven back by Greg Feek. There was no way that Case Muse was going on the angle. It was the other way around.
In fact, it was good work by Feek in some respects, but he lifted him in the end, didn't he?
So Andrew Mehrtens, 2 penalties in the first half, and a chance to kick another one. And he doesn't miss too many. 16 points to 9.
It's interesting, the choice of referees this year. In the semi-finals, we've had Paddy O'Brien, Kelvin Deaker and Colin Hawke have done the 3 big games, and I would have thought one of them would have got this final. But Honus has come in, and he's doing a good job, pretty much so anyway, at this stage.
Mehrtens makes the clearance and does a good job. They're going to take it quickly, though. Hayden Reid. Ball holding up in the breeze and easily claimed by Blackadder. What a good charge by Captain Blackadder. Aaron Major bangs it away, and Hayden Reid waiting, and just waited long enough. Boy.
Great judgment, though. Fine judgment. He did exactly the right thing, of course, if he was brave enough, and he was.
This takes some nerve. But this was Todd Blackadder, and I think his pace is a wee bit underestimated at times. He can really motor. And Hayden Reid, oh there, that was excruciating. How long can you wait? Now Scott Robertson brings it back for Canterbury.
Yes, we've got 2 number 8s competing here in this game.
Mehrtens doing a lot of kicking. This one should be comfortable though for Reid. Play on. Didn't get it. So.
You double it. You couldn't have the ball. It's a rush. 12.
Laney's got time to kick. McDonald positioned himself well. Little kick and chase from Leon McDonald. He can spark anything from the back. Marshall, they're going to stay blindside. Now the chase is on again. Marshall and Ralph are there. And it's carried back.
Walshy.
Well, they're going to ask Steve Walsh. It looked as though it was carried back.
By Jeff Wilson diving on the ball, that's what it looked like, but whether he lost the ball over the line is the question. So we'll see on this angle. What a great privilege to see this. Ooh, has he got the ball? Ooh, well, I think the Otago players grounded the ball before the Canterbury hand did.
Hayden Reid might have saved the situation with the cavalry.
So that's Wilson now. He hasn't knocked that on, of course, because it's going backwards. So he goes over the goal line, so he's taken it back. Hayden Reid down, and then also
Miller's there.
Miller, yeah.
Flopped in like
so
a big
Hayden
donut.
Reid's big left arm is what you're saying, Stu, aren't you? It's whether it got on the ball, which we can't tell, of course. Otherwise, it is Marshall's try.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to give that try. But, you know, this is where Canterbury are going to start the second half. They have the advantage with the breeze behind them. It was good work by Justin Marshall because he kept the flow going down the short side.
Thank you. Are we back live? Okay.
Ooh.
I think it was the last angle that's told the story that we couldn't see. I think you could see in the last angle that the ball wasn't grounded by any of the Otago players.
Murray, who would you have given that? Was that Justin Marshall's try?
Justin Marshall, definitely. Now have a look at this one here. Oh, that's just where it happened with McDonald beautifully. Retaining possession, setting it up. Forward, going forward. Now the kick through by Marshall, good kick. Now Wilson just beat Marshall to the ball. Now you can't see it from that angle.
That's a good angle to watch it, wasn't it? I can't really see the try given on that angle. Maybe this side.
This is it. Yeah, this is it.
Ball's loose.
There it is there, and
Right,
Marshall grabbed it.
Well, thank heavens for the video ref, because I'm sure Paul Honus wouldn't have given that as a try. And now Andrew Mehrtens has the chance to bring it back to all square, and he can't do it. 16-14, Justin Marshall scores the try for Canterbury.
Well, you heard the story, the stats by Tony Johnson half-time. When Canterbury score first in the second half, they win the game. So will it be repeating itself? Of course, stats are just stats, aren't they? I mean, each game unfolds its own way.
We'll wait and see. As Laney kicks out again, claimed by McCaw. Canterbury have come back strongly in the 7 minutes we've had in the second half. Marshall playing for territory. Down for Reid. Drills it down. Mehrtens.
But that's a wasted kick, really.
Holding here, Reid! Holding!
And that one's not much better.
Okay.
Snapped up now by Parkinson. So Otago can start in Canterbury territory. Laney sends it on for the galloping Miller. Lined up though by Maxwell, who's never been afraid to make a tackle. Kelleher has a probe.
It's a maul! Take it in blue!
Ooh, that could have been a turnover. It is a turnover. That's great play, Canterbury.
Now the chase is on. Ralph is charging, so is Aaron Major, and Jeff Wilson finds the safety of the touchline. Quickly thrown in. Otago were ready though. Maxwell to feet. Offside play against Otago. Mehrtens kicking for Joe Maddock. Back we come. Penalty.
Well, it's a fast and furious attack by Canterbury. The big tackle, that started it all. The big tackle on Miller, who's the guy that breaks the advantage line. Then there's a great drive by Kelleher, but somehow Canterbury held him up. In fact, it's Marshall there again. And then the Canterbury forwards, the weight of the second wave. In other words, the original push of Otago wasn't enough. It was the second arrival of the second tier of Canterbury forwards that enabled that drive over top to win the ball. And this is the result. The kick behind the Otago players, the pressure that Canterbury applied on Otago, and ultimately, I think it was Oliver that was caught up offside.
Canterbury were in front right at the start of the game when Mehrtens kicked a penalty. And this is an opportunity to regain that lead. And they do that. 17-16.
Well, what a final. So often the NPC culminates in a magnificent series of semi-finals and finals, and again it is this year. I've got an amazing number of emails during the week. There's both from New Zealanders all over the globe, the States, Africa, and even from Oxford University, the educational department over there, connection with New Zealand. Kiwis watching it all over the world.
5 reds! 5 reds! 5 reds!
Penalty against Norm Maxwell.
The shoulder into the Otago player trying to compete for the ball as well. You stood there and you dropped the shoulder as well. Let's go away. Penalty here. Shot.
One of our regular crew members, Will Kingy, watching this game. Murray in Portland, Oregon, on Sports World, Fox in North America. Josh Gronfeld, we know he's watching on Sky Sport 3 in Britain.
Thanks.
And, well, Josh, your Otago side might go back in front here because Brendan Laney lining up a penalty.
Well, he's got his cell phone to his ear by the looks of things. Look at these two co-coaches, Greg Krupa and Wayne Graham, the two most dapper co-coaches in the NPC, I'd say.
Well, Murray, if any are a guy who's ever going to win a game and under a huge amount of pressure, is this fella. I think when you said in the first half, he's a big match player, great temperament.
What a great camera angle that is for a cricket goal.
Hasn't quite made it. And taken by McCaw. Marshall makes the clearing kick. So the pressure is off Canterbury for the moment. They still lead 17-16. We've only had 12 minutes in the second half. And it feels like half an hour, Murray.
It does indeed. Did you watch the emphatic way that Brendan Lady stood there? Watch that kick and goal. And it was like he was saying himself, I don't believe it. That kick didn't go over.
Oliver with the throw. Maxwell gets up in front of Mailing.
So it's against the throw. That's a steal.
Mehrtens gets plenty of distance into this. As Hayden Reid has dropped back to fullback. Wilson's gone back to the wing. Kick is made. And McDonald can let this one go. And there'll be a restart from the 22.
Yeah, Otago really have to counter-attack those situations. I think when the ball's in this sort of situation, it's not the time to kick. You've got players back. And you've got to have a go at Canterbury. You don't beat Canterbury by just placing the ball around the track.
There'll be some changes made in the front row of Canterbury shortly. Number 17, Dave Hewitt, will be on for Greg Feek in about 3 or 4 minutes. He's just having a big warm-up now.
Matt Sexton, his last game.
Well, hasn't he been a stalwart of this front row? Fantastic.
Since 1991.
A decade of service.
McCaw hits the line hard, near halfway. Marshall, first man up is Sexton. His 128th match for Canterbury tonight. Mehrtens dictating the game. And again, off the slightly slippery surface, he gets good momentum. And Canterbury playing it inside the Otago 22.
Well, Canterbury are an example for all teams, for sure, in this land. They pride themselves on the team entity. And guys like Matt Sexton have really added to that. The culture that they have, the importance of the team sticking together.
Blackadder this time. They really are competing on Otago ball. Now McCaw. Oh, big sandwich. But he managed to release it. Mehrtens shovels it on for Nathan Major. Just couldn't release. Looking for someone to give it to. And he held it a bit too late. So the advantage applies here.
Stop it, holding on.
So the ball was loose.
Your head's a puppet from there, mate.
So Nathan Major went through the hole. He held onto the ball. And then he placed it. So he was penalised in that situation. It's pretty tough because he didn't let it go.
Held it too long, Marek. That was the call.
Held onto it too long.
So McCaw got hit big time, the double tackle, the double whammy. He's quite resilient, Richie McCaw.
Numbers, guys.
Anton Oliver has had the last 2 stolen. Canterbury competing hard against everything, but this time straight to Levy. Now they open it up for Case Muse. Away goes Joe McDonnell. Kelleher for Laney. Again, it's Caleb Ralph. He's had to field the ball a lot tonight. It's almost as if it's a plan for Otago to kick it to him, but he hasn't faltered. Mehrtens, though, will drive them back. Not quite the distance this time. Reid got a beautiful pass away to Parkinson. And then the ball was lost by McCaw.
Yes, he did, Hayden Reid. He used it that time. He drew 2 players and cleared it to Parkinson. So Scott Robertson pulled off the big tackle.
Well, He's had problems with this calf muscle. Anton Ollery missed the semi-final last week against Harbour, so there'll be real concern here. Otago, they do have Tom Willis, who is a top-class player.
So there's the Canterbury bench. They're part of the bench and their coach, their fine coach.
Okay. Prove your point, fellas. Let's do it properly this time, eh? Okay, you've muscled up. Now let's do it properly. Okay, crouch and hold. Just wait for my call.
So there've been no changes in the front row yet. These two sets of good front row forwards are fighting it still out.
In goes Miller and makes good ground. Levy takes it up towards the 10-metre line.
Thank you.
Gallagher for Laney. But they've got these well covered, these kicks, as Leon McDonald will put it into the wide open spaces, and in fact across the touchline.
Grant,
17-16. Sorry, Stu.
Sorry, Grant. There's just been a change there in the midfield for Otago.
Okay, 6. Thanks, mate.
Silala Mapusu, who's wearing number 12, is now back on the track, and number 21, which was George Learpepe, he's just limped off.
Good get, please.
Mapusu disappeared about half an hour ago, and he's back.
I hear the tone in your voice, Bisbo. You're challenging whether, in fact, he's allowed to come back on at this stage.
Yeah, I give up. Lovely throw. Straight down for Sam Harding, who hasn't been quite so prominent in the second half as Canterbury have taken over, and the ball's been robbed.
That was excellent play by McCaw. Absolutely fantastic. We'll have a look at that.
Kick might be a little bit too far.
There's a classic example of an open side flanker who made a tackle and got immediately to his feet to give himself the right to claim the ball also. Now have a look, he tackled, he got up on his feet and then ripped the ball free, spun his body around. Well, magnificent play. Open side on open side. Sam Harding couldn't do a thing because McCaw put him on the deck. What a great battle between these two fantastic young open side flankers.
Bring it back, please, 14. Right back, please, guys.
Well, it's a pleasure to watch good loose forwards in action. In fact, that's one of the most significant things about these two teams is the quality of the loose forward trios.
Mehrtens drop kick from a long way, but it's well wide.
In fact, as the NPC has rolled on, I think we've seen the teams that have succeeded that have the best loose forward trio. I think the only other one that you could add to that would be North Harbour, but they were rotating their players so often, it was hard to see who their top trio was. But these two trios have been very, very consistent. Tane Randall at 6, of course, Miller at 8, Sam Harding, and then Richie McCaw Robertson at number 8, and Reuben Thorne.
Laney. Fielded by McDonald. This is an Aaron Major for Andrew Mehrtens. And it probably didn't turn out quite the way that Andrew Mehrtens hoped, although it looks as though it came off an Otago player, so it will be Canterbury ball.
So, Stu, how do you feel the flow of this game's moving?
It's slowly ebbing away from Otago. I just feel that Canterbury got a bit of a razz up at half-time by their coaching staff. They've certainly played a better game this second half.
Reuben Thorne gets it cleanly. Mehrtens calling on the inside for Maddock. Now here's a chance for Nathan Major. What a great move.
That was something special. Well, it's the timing of these moves, but super special. Coming from a sharp angle on the inside. Looked almost mechanical. So there's the ball. Reuben Thorne did it. Quick ball off the top. Mehrtens wide and then back on the inside. Well, wasn't that magnificent? And then the pass to Major through the centre. So it was Joe Maddock, the man that made the break. The timing of the run and the pass. Have a look again. There it is. He was just hanging there. waiting, lurking for the ball, and then gave the pass at the perfect moment.
Well, this move's been used quite often by Canterbury. Now, it's the dummy runner from the centres doing the dummies. There's the dummy pass, and the gap opens up. Blindside winger chimes in, and they've pulled this move a number of times this year, and not often has it not worked. Classic stuff.
Mehrtens converts again as Canterbury move to an 8-point lead. Nathan Major gets his 12th try of the NPC season, and what a classic. Joe Maddock. Now, who was Joe Maddock at the start of the season? But he's come on and hit leaps and bounds, and Nathan Major finishes again.
And so's Nathan Major come on. Who was Nathan Who Major at the beginning of the year?
Kick-off made by Otago. They've been hit hard in the second half. Knocked on by Justin Marshall. Well, Murray, you wouldn't believe this, but neither of the Major brothers played NPC Rugby for Canterbury last year.
Well, it's extraordinary, isn't it, the way it's moving? And of course, Gibson, who was the captain of Canterbury not so long ago, finds himself on the reserve bench.
Anguish for Justin Marshall. Now Laney shovels it on for Mapusua. Very nearly snuck through.
He had to give the pass though, didn't he, to Harding?
Now Levy. Otago now have to hit back.
There'll be a turnover. He didn't get it round by looks of things.
Huge number of turnovers. Otago have coughed it up so often in the second half.
Yeah, Winger's got you on, guys.
Mehrtens driving them back again. Now this one might go all the way. Oh dear. That's a huge kick, but it's going to be a scrum all the way back at the 22.
So, of course, Canterbury last year had Daryl Gibson and Mark Robinson and possibly Mayerhofer as well. So 3 All Blacks in the midfield. This year, 2 Major brothers who no one's heard of have dominated. In effect, they've dominated the midfield.
Well, that's Major. And, of course, there's Minor Major.
There's Minor and Major. Yeah, that's the other one. So they've got different haircuts so we can tell who the brothers are. No, they're not twins. They don't. That's the great thing about their combination, actually, because they're balanced. They're 2 different players.
I can tell you guys, there's been a rearrangement in the Otago backline. Jeff Wilson is no longer on the track. And if I right, George Leofepi has come back onto the field in jersey number 21. Mapusua is back there. Hayden Reid has gone to the left wing. Laney is at first 5'8". Dan Parkinson is number 22, he is on the other wing. So we've got Ryan Nicholas, I think, has gone to fullback.
Engage! So Jeff Wilson's not there. For whatever reason.
Stay on, Simon, that's good.
Gallagher sets them in motion. Mapusua up for Laupepe.
That's a ball, take it in, go!
Again, strong defence by Canterbury. Gallagher for Levy. Tries to back his way in.
Hold back. Okay.
Now Ryan Nicholas.
Release! It's a run!
Really struggling to get through this Canterbury defence, as most teams do. Now Pepe again, trying to shake off the tackles. Can't do it.
It's a rock! Last feet here.
Gallagher once more for Laney. Reid this time decides he'll have a go at the defence. Laney again for Oliver. He can break a few tackles and does so.
Roll 7! Leave it 7, Red!
That makes the opposition backpedal, of course, which makes it easier to break the advantage line.
Mapusua. They've just got over the 22 now. Taking 7 phases to do so, and there's a knock-on. It's going to be there for Canterbury to clear anyway. Justin Marshall pops it up for Reuben Thorne. As Canterbury have withstood the onslaught, Blackadder and Mehrtens will make the kick. Oh, here's another one coming up now. How far will this one roll? He's done it again.
Well, I think Canterbury would have rather have had the scrum there. Settled it down. He caught advantage over.
Well, that's right. And that's the timing of when the referee says the advantage is over, I guess.
But the play was messy though, wasn't it, Murray?
Well, Otago were attacking Canterbury, but until Oliver made the little charge over the advantage line, they weren't really breaking the advantage line, which meant it was static attack. They had 7 phases. In the end, they coughed it up. So, yeah, it did look a little messy. It was never convincing that they were going to break through.
Gallagher slips. Miller, blindside for Laney. Times the pass to Mapusua. Struggles through a few of them. Gets some momentum going. Ball is out, play on. Taken in by Otago. Desperately trying to crack this Canterbury defence. Oliver, Oliver and Maxwell. No beg your pardons. Gallagher. Randall. Now the counter-attack. Here they come, Canterbury. Aaron Major. Still in Canterbury territory for Marshall to clear. Ball knocked forward by Otago. May not matter though, as Blackadder gets into gear. Justin Marshall.
And release line. It's off blue. It's red.
And a knock on in there by Otago. Boy, that collision. Anton Oliver. Well, this is a long way from the action, a long way from where it happened with Norm Maxwell. Boy.
It was huge because I thought that Oliver actually did the right thing. I thought he was just looking for a bit of a hole, but there was no hole. So Todd Blackadder setting it up. Here it is, yes, he dummied and then he thought, I'll take the poke, I'll take the little hole, but Maxwell just throwing his body with no regard.
13 minutes left in the final.
Fellas, far side. I saw some arms on the ground here.
Big second half comeback by Canterbury. Down by 10 at half time, remember. Now leading by 8.
Crouching holds. It's all right. Crouching holds. Engage! Stay on, 7! Okay.
Away goes Scott Robertson.
It's a rack! That's the foot player!
Marshall. Mehrtens. Aaron Major, well taken. Turnover. One of the few times it's happened to Canterbury, and Laney drives them back.
Yes, he saw open space.
Not too many chasers here. Dan Parkinson, they're only loping after it. And an easy clearance.
He got it as I called it, so he's fine.
So the Canterbury machine.
Running out of time, McEwen.
So he went to set it up. And somehow he lost the ball.
Okay, just hold the ball, please.
So Todd Blackadder. So look at that, right on 50-50. Possession stakes. Classic confrontation of two excellent rugby sides. Well, that'll be one of the last times he does his boots up.
You want some tape?
Retiring from the scene at the end of this match. That's Jeff Wilson.
He got a smack in the eye last week in the semi-final. It's troubled him all week.
We've got 10 to go. Just over 10 minutes to go, guys. 10 minutes, okay? Clock's about right. Clock's about right. Just over 10 to go.
So there's still nothing remaining in this game, really. I mean, it's an 8-point lead.
Come down, Blue.
So a converted try to Otago who would throw the cat amongst the pigeons in the last few minutes. 10 minutes to go.
Oliver throw. In fact, too many numbers there for Canterbury. It's interesting, though, isn't it, the way that Steve Hansen, who's been pretty keen to go to the bench all season, has really not done very much at all. And shows no signs of it. Anton Oliver brings it up for Otago. Kelleher away for Laney. Mapusua.
Mapusua's been strong, but on occasions he's lost the ball in the tackle.
Boy, the turnovers are costing. Burton shrugs him away, and now they're going to watch the bounce of this one, but I don't think it's going to make it this time. In fact, it's not going to make it even to the goal line.
more substitutions being made by Steve Hansen and the Canterbury team. Number 18, Brad Thorne, is stripped down, all ready to go, and the word is that he's going to replace Norm Maxwell, number 5, so they're going to give Todd Blackadder the full game.
Tom Willis is on too. Yep.
And Dave Hewitt's already out there in jersey number 17.
Instruction, play on!
Here goes Harding for Otago. They've still got time. There's just around 10 minutes remaining. Paul Miller scrapping his way downfield. Good charge. 10-metre line in Canterbury territory.
Roll off! Play on, play on!
There it is for Byron Kelleher. Laney out for Laupepe. Got the pass inside to Mapusua, who in turn found Willis. They're really going for it now, Otago. Laney up for Randall.
Off red, play on! Off the red hand with a tackle!
Still there for Otago. Laney. No one really running onto this. And McDonald is able to clear it quite easily. Not too far though. Straight down to Hayden Reid as the counter-attack comes from Otago.
Get out, 7! Entering to the wrong side, advantage!
Playing advantage. Could be a penalty coming up here. There's still time to take a penalty as Randall runs into the tackle of Marshall. Now Laney keeps going. Advantage still there.
Still playing it!
It's a good passage of play though, Otago, good attack.
They might be better off to kick it out here, but
entering from the side, 7.
and they'll take the penalty, and Tane Randall immediately says go for goal, which will bring it back to a 5-point margin if Brendan Laney can land it.
Oh, classic finals rugby. That was a great phase of play, 6 phases in fact for Otago. They not only kept possession for 6 phases, but they also broke the advantage line. So this is the big strong winger setting up the drive, taking on the forwards. Hayden Reid.
Early against Richie McCaw. You can see that he didn't retire behind the feet of his own players. He just went in from the side. Would have been okay a couple of years ago.
Well, the young face of the future. In fact, he's the young face of the present as well. Isn't that the key, Nisbro? We all most live in the past and the future, but the key is to live in the present.
Sure. Here's Laney looking for the first points for Otago in the second half. And back we go to a 5-point game. 24 points to 19 after the penalty by Laney. Well, we had a thrilling final here last year, which went down to the last minute or two as Brad Thorne is on the field for Norm Maxwell. Otago have the ball through Mapusua, and he doesn't get as much distance as he was looking for there.
No, I think he really had to just steam it up the centre and set it up and keep hold of possession. What he's done now is he's given Canterbury the throw and the ball. And there he is, Daryl Gibson on the field.
Former Canterbury captain, of course, Daryl Gibson. Blackadder.
Smuggling it to the back. Otago trying to disrupt it.
From the back 8! From the back 8!
Excellent control here by Canterbury.
Way to go, 16!
So that's McCaw at the back with the ball. As long as he's bound, it's legit.
Also eating up the time, of course.
Still moving, come out, come out!
Well, it's a bit reminiscent of the good old East Coast.
Last feet here.
A rolling ball.
Out, 5! Play on, went backwards.
Otago got in there.
Went backwards.
Now they move it. Mehrtens drop kick. Back they go to an 8-point margin.
Well, I saw somebody in the crowd shaking their head, and that's exactly it, summed up perfectly. The magic of the man. So the big drive, look at this. He knew he just had to get another 3 points. He didn't know how he was going to get it, and that was the first time he had any chance, any opportunity, and he just nailed it.
Makes it pretty hard now for Otago. Again, they have to score twice.
16, you must go away now. There it is. Hold. Okay.
Marshall for Mehrtens. Holding back a little on this kick. Reed. Now Ryan Nicholas. Beats Richie McCaw, who nailed him. It's on the Otago side though for Kelleher. Laney back for Mapasua. Hounded across field by Daryl Gibson.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, play on. Where you go? The ball is out. He wasn't bound.
Real pressure here on Otago. And
Turnover.
another turnover. Major makes the kick for Ralph, who just sees the ball bounce away.
Yes, right, the ball's out. No problem.
That's ripped the face away from the ball.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we would appreciate the stay for this ceremony at the end of the match, and we would ask
Tom Willis.
you to remain in the stand, please.
Tipped by Mailing. Harding
Hold it, yeah.
away for Laney.
Yeah, you almost got you on.
Once again, Caleb Ralph. Now McDonald. Greeting party of Otago loose forwards to meet him. Now Marshall could open up here as Daryl Gibson is well taken. 15 out from the 22. Canterbury controlling possession. Brad Thorne, powerful runner that he is, takes it almost to the 22. Marshall again, this time for Scott Robertson. Marshall stays blindside. Wasn't the right decision though. And Todd Blackadder can't control it.
Well, it was a great run by Thorne, Brad Thorne. He certainly learnt that part since he's come from rugby league, how to drive with players on you and then set up the ball. Quite a different discipline than rugby league. And he did it well, and then Robertson, of course, did exactly the same a few seconds later.
Just a couple of minutes left. Canterbury in control. Last one, the NPC title back in 1997. Now Daryl Gibson.
That's a maul, taken in red.
There it is for Marshall again. Greg Somerville. No, in fact, it's Brad Thorne. Just near the 22. Marshall again looking blindside, but delivers off to Mehrtens. Now McCaw. Another outstanding game from the open side flanker.
Hands off.
Gibson again.
Play on.
Blindside for Mehrtens. Ralph. Back to Mehrtens. Chance here. Leon McDonald. 5 metres out. Looking to nail it into the coffin. As McCaw drives in again.
Oh, advantage.
Playing advantage.
9 blue, stay off your feet.
Against Byron Kelleher. Now I think this being a final,
9 blue, stay off
Andrew
his feet.
Mehrtens will have a shot here.
Yes, you did right. Well, it finishes the game, that's for sure. 2 minutes left on the clock. I think it's the right decision. Well, the question is, was the ball out? And it looked to me like it might have been. If Keller had come from behind the last man's feet, which I think he did, I'm not sure if Mr. Honus was accurate. Of course, he's very good at that, Brian Keller. He hangs back, and then he anticipates it, and then he rushes up. In fact, that's how he got his charge down in his try last week against North Harbour.
17 points tonight for Andrew Mehrtens. Chance to take it to 20 and beat the record that Matt Cooper set in the 92 final. Mehrtens. That seals it. 30 points to 19. There's still time to go. but the red and blacks are going to lift the trophy. Lady with the short dropout. Otago have been brave in the final, but this second half from Canterbury has been too much for them. Mehrtens again has controlled it. Now Dan Parkinson, one last throw of the dice. He's got support from Nicholas. Not too many blue jerseys now, they turn up. Todd Blackadder marshalling the forces in centre field as Laney sends it out. Out towards Blackadder, who'll be defending grimly, I'm sure. Gallagher delivers one of the final passes up to Filippo Levy for Otago, and another penalty.
You were isolated for, he was on his feet, he's got all rights to the ball. I think you might be lucky, yeah.
Well, it's pretty tough again.
Well, why doesn't Todd Blackadder kick this out? This will be the game. And the ball is out. Paul Honus, they all look at him and he blows the whistle. And what a farewell present to Todd Blackadder as Canterbury win the NPC First Division.
Ladies and gentlemen, very shortly there will be speakers, presentations, and I'm sure farewells from the dance in front of the main stand. And before that, we're going to go to...
Well, you can see the delight, the absolute unadulterated pleasure that this Canterbury team have, and don't they deserve it? This man, the king of the tribe, the leader, absolutely. We don't often see that sort of expression from Todd Blackadder. Oh, they're a close team and worthy winners. Champions for sure. Absolutely delight. What a wonderful, remarkable send-off for Todd Blackadder and their coach, Steve Henson. Well, it's been a great game of rugby, a true final, very keenly fought between two great sides. Otago came here on the charge and they started the first half that way. They actually held a little bit of dominance when they went into half-time. They were 10 points ahead. But this team, they scored just after half-time and they just kept it going.
Let's go down with Stu and Todd Blackadder.
Yes, thanks, Grant. Well, Toddy, a wonderful, wonderful night, particularly for you, for the last one on the Jade Stadium.
Yeah, I'm just wrapped out. It's just been a great season for Canterbury, and it was just, it's been a great year, and our guys have really performed all year, and they were put under real pressure tonight by a bloody gutsy Otago side, and we knew we just had to come out at half-time and really put the pressure on and start playing, because we weren't doing that in the first half, but geez, what a great night, and just wrapped for the boys. It's just been a great year.
Did you hear the crowd behind you tonight?
Yeah, we did, mate. We needed a rocket, and they certainly got behind us after half-time and started going forward, so it was just great. And the Canterbury crowd's awesome as per usual.
Sad? Is it a sad moment for you, or just going to be on a good high tonight?
Yeah, it's a happy moment for me, mate. I'm not going to get sad. I'm bloody happy. It's just great.
An incredible amount of young, talented players coming through, which you'll be happy with.
Yeah, it's just so exciting. We've got so many good young guys, and they're just so talented and they're so gutsy, and they play with real pride and heart, and they really kept the enthusiasm up all year, and they just kept us old fellas like me and Rat going, and just a pleasure to be in this side, it really is.
You go and enjoy the moment and have a good time at Edinburgh.
I'll do that, mate. I think we'll have a few DBs tonight and bloody celebrate.
Well, hasn't he just been a great servant of Canterbury Rugby? His 130th and last game, and the fairy tale ending that was expected has happened, and Steve Hansen is another, of course, who's heading away, and so the perfect ending for him as well. And I guess too, we shouldn't forget Matt Sexton. What a fantastic career he's had. So it's all ended rather perfectly here at Jade Stadium tonight. Canterbury, they looked in trouble at half-time, 16 points to 6, but they've come out of by 30 to 19. Let's hear now from Matt Sexton. He's with Stu.
Well, Matt Sexton, at the middle of Jade Stadium, you've pounded a fair amount of flesh out here in sweat. What does it feel like right at this moment?
Oh, magic. We've worked hard all season. It would have been such a disappointment not to take this one out. We were a bit worried at half-time, but it showed real character in the team that we've got here, and came out and put 80 minutes together.
Your playing mate Todd Blackadder is probably a walking advertisement for everything good about rugby. What does he install in the side with the you guys, the older guys, and the younger guys?
Well, a bit of composure really. At half time there was a few chatterboxes, but we just had to settle it down. But he's a wonderful leader, and we're really going to miss him as a friend and as a leader.
What's so special about you guys down here? The Canterbury crowd, Jade Stadium. You've got a lot of self-belief, you've got a lot of pride, you've got a lot of passion. What is it?
It's been a build-up over a number of years, and we've been in some pretty sticky situations, and over the years we've learnt to really knuckle down and have self-belief, and it really showed out today, and perhaps the Wellington game too. When our back's against the wall, we come out fighting, and certainly the crowd here is fantastic.
Steve Hansen, another one that's on the way away from the Christchurch area, but you probably might see him come back.
Yeah, I'd say so. He's another one that's going to be a great loss to Canterbury Rugby, but hopefully we'll see him back here. He's got other aspirations, I think, and he'll be red and black through and through.
Well, mate, the good thing is about it, you'll be able to sit up in that new grandstand next year and have a look at the boys.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll be having a couple of beers up there and cheering them on for sure.
You enjoy your summer and your new job.
Thanks very much.
Wonderful decade of rugby from Matt Sexton for the Canterbury side. Well, there's disappointment in the Otago team, but they really came up to play tonight. They had the lead at half time, but they couldn't sustain it in the second spell. And let's hear now from Anton Oliver. He's with Stu.
Well, Anton, I thought your Otago forward pack tonight asked some questions to the Canterbury side.
Yeah, well, we're a pretty good forward pack. That's how we got here sort of into the finals. We played pretty well in the last few weeks in weak conditions, where the forwards have to take over, and we've got some big roosters in there that like taking the ball up.
And I mean, the rivalry between Otago and Canterbury, although you're best of mates, it's quite important. Maybe sometimes the North Island people tend to lose that.
It's like any, it's like, I suppose it's like West Coast playing, Hokitika or North Harbour playing Auckland. Same thing. There's a lot of intense rivalry when you play your neighbour.
What did Laurie say at half time?
Oh, whatever he said we didn't do. Well, basically we just had to go out there and attack, and we were trying to get sort of field position early and maybe apply some pressure, but we couldn't really control the ball. We didn't really get much ball off the kickoffs, and consequently played most of the game down there in our half and couldn't control the ball.
Still had that big hype and the pressure of a semi-final, of a final of the NPC?
Yeah, it did. It was a bit better this week. Laurie put a bit of a media thing, so all the guys, because we've got a lot of young fellas in the team, so that was really good, and we showed a lot of heart out there, but just perhaps that little bit of polish that is lacking, and of course we get some injuries to Tony Brown and Peter. Well, they were our match men, so without them we're sort of lost a little bit.
Well, you enjoy tonight, and good luck with the All Black naming tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. We've got some issues to deal with tonight. We've got some guys of our own leaving, and we've got to deal with throw a few beers into their throat before they leave.
You enjoy them.
He summed it up rather well, didn't he, Anton Oliver? And so there we are. That's the situation here at Jade Stadium. We'll be back pretty shortly, but Canterbury have lifted the NPC First Division title here tonight by 30 points to 19.
Was a bit there. Well, Steve, a very happy way to finish your stint here with Canterbury this season, with lifting of the shield, of course, keeping that in the locker, and taking out the Division 1 title.
Yeah, well, I guess you could say it's you couldn't go out any better, and the thing that really pleased me about the whole season was the way we played. The style of football we played got people excited, and that's what we set out to do at the start of the season. And the guys enjoyed themselves from woe to go, and we saw some real character this afternoon or tonight in that second half. Otago really, we weren't in it in the first half, and we gutsed it out, and in the second half we came back and really lifted and played some good football.
Steve, you said that if you got equal proportions of self-belief, discipline and pride, your team could basically do a lot of things. Have you been happy with the way they've gone?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't be too much happier than what we've done. Yeah, that's right.
That after that North Harbour loss, I think basically that might have just kick-started your run into the finals.
Yeah, it did. It made us go away and look at ourselves a wee bit, and we started working a bit smarter. But the big thing we went away with was really looked at our mental toughness, because we felt we really didn't go and perform there. And all season we made a special effort to try and perform to the best we could every week, and that's just based on your genuine preparation through the week, which is your mental toughness.
Now, I know you probably didn't want to see or think about it, but when you start losing guys from the team like Todd Blackadder, Max Sexton, yourself on the way overseas, sad day for the Canterbury boys.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's sad probably for me, Toddy and Rat. I mean, there's obviously a lot of emotion in behind everything, but I couldn't call this day a sad day for Canterbury, mate. I mean, both those blokes have been outstanding. They're over 130 games each, and contributed a hell of a lot, and you couldn't ask for a better way for those blokes to go out. I think it's fantastic.
Enjoy tonight.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll enjoy the next couple of days.
The President of the Canterbury Rugby Football Union, Bill Bush.
It is always a particularly difficult task in a final such as this to realise that there is a team that has come second. But Otago, with a grand band of supporters tonight and a magnificent attitude, have provided an excellent occasion for all of us. Please welcome their captain, Tane Randall.
Thanks everyone. I hope you enjoyed the game. Well done Canterbury, the best team in the country. And to you, Toddy, from Otago, we're glad to see the back of you. Just our guys, Joe McDonnell.
Well done, mate.
There's Chase, Sam Harding.
The presentations have begun at Jade Stadium. Canterbury about to receive the rewards of a 30-19 triumph, but right at the moment it's the Otago team receiving their medals for their achievement and reaching the final. Beaten tonight, but beaten in a fine exhibition of rugby from these two great New Zealand provinces.
Brendan Laney. Tom Willis and Ryan Nicholas. Simon Mailing and John Blakey. Hayden Reid, Dave Gibson and Paul Miller. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, please, for the Otago team here tonight. I'd like now to call on the match officials to receive their medallions. Referee Paul Honus, touch judges Calvin Deeker and Colin Hawke, and the television match official, Steve Walsh. Steve Walsh must be upstairs still looking over that video again. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome our Air New Zealand representative here tonight, Norm Thompson.
Thanks very much. And what a grand finale to the Air New Zealand 2001 rugby competition. Congratulations to Canterbury, a fantastic effort tonight, and what true champions you are. Commiserations to Otago, but with the passion and guts that they displayed tonight, it really does show the depth of provincial rugby in New Zealand. Air New Zealand's really proud to be associated with the Air New Zealand NPC competition. 3 great games, 3 great finals this year. We've been a supporter for many years. We're going to continue to be supporters. And we really want to thank you, the fans, and supporters of Air New Zealand right around the country. I'd like to take the opportunity to pay tribute to 4 people leaving us tonight. Todd Blackadder, Max Sexton, Steve Hansen and Brendan Laney. We wish you well in your new ventures.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Canterbury side, I'd just like to thank Otago, which was a great game tonight, and had many a battle with you guys. You guys certainly came out tonight and had a great game in that first half, and we're pretty lucky to be where we were on the scoreboard, and had some great battles with you guys over the years, and tonight was no different. Just like to thank our guys, which has been an absolutely superb year. It's been just so exciting. I'd like to thank our coaches, Steve Hansen and Ozzy McLean, and all the management for their good work and hard effort. We'd just like to thank our sponsors, Meridian Energy, Nike, DB Draft and Telecom, once again for sponsoring the team, and you're great sponsors, and we thank you very much. Just like to thank the crowd here, the Canterbury crowd, thank you very much. It's great to see the band back here at Jade Stadium, thank you. That's all I've got to say, so thank you very much. Shane, do you come forward?
Justin Marshall, Matt Sexton, Richard McCaw, Scott Robertson, Greg Somerville, Leon McDonald, Norm Maxwell, David Hewitt, Ruben Thorne, Ben Hurst, Greg Feek, Joe Maddock, Nathan Major, Aaron Major, Andrew Mehrtens, Sam Broomhall, Ben Blair, Brad Thorne, Daryl Gibson, Caleb Ralph, Chris Jack, Billy Fulton, Con Barrell, Matt Mustian, Peter Bowden, Leighton Croft, Tony Kopolani, Cameron McIntyre, Marika Vunabaka, Joe Nafahu, Johnny Leo, Andrew Hoare, Steve Muir, John Miles, Errol Collins, Ozzy McLean, and Steve Hansen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment. The President of the New Zealand Rugby Football Union, Lane Penn, to present the Air New Zealand Division 1 NPC Trophy to Todd Blackadder.
It's Toddy's night, and no one was going to crash the show. Brendan Laney and Otago for a while had other ideas. Otago led 16-6 at half-time. There was the hint of an upset in the air, but that all-important first try at the start of the second half went the way of Canterbury. So often that's been appointed to a Canterbury victory, so it was again tonight. An exciting night, an emotional night, but they got the result they wanted. And Canterbury do the double. They've held the Ranfurly Shield right through the season, and they have the NPC First Division title that they won back in 1997. It's theirs again. Congratulations to Canterbury. Yes, we've heard that chant before, the Reuben Thorne chant. We heard it after they won the Super 12 title. Well, Matt Sexton there, he'll have loved his final outing for Canterbury, as did Todd Blackadder, and of course Coach Steve Hansen, who spoke just a short time ago to Stu Wilson. Here's that interview off tape.
A very happy way to finish your stint here with Canterbury this season, with lifting of the shield, of course, keeping that in the locker, and taking out the Division 1 title.
Yeah, well, I guess you could say it's you couldn't go out any better, and the thing that really pleased me about the whole season was the way we played. The style of football we played got people excited, and that's what we set out to do at the start of the season. And the guys enjoyed themselves from Otago. And we saw some real character this afternoon or tonight in that second half. Otago really, we weren't in it in the first half, and we gutsed it out. And in the second half, we came back and really lifted and played some good football.
Steve, you said that if you got equal proportions of self-belief, discipline, and pride, your team could basically do a lot of things. You've been happy with the way they've gone?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't be too much happier than what we've done. Yeah, that's right.
That after that North Harbour loss, I think basically that might have just kick-started your run into the finals.
Yeah, it did. It made us go away and look at ourselves a wee bit, and we started working a bit smarter. But the big thing we went away with was really looked at our mental toughness, because we felt we really didn't go and perform there. And all season we made a special effort to try and perform to the best we could every week, and that's just based on your genuine preparation through the week, which is your mental toughness.
Now, I know you probably didn't want to see or think about it, but when you start losing guys from the team like Todd Blackadder, Max Sexton, yourself on the way overseas, sad day for the Canterbury boys.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's sad probably for me, Toddy and Rat. I mean, there's obviously a lot of emotion behind everything, but I couldn't call this day a sad day for Canterbury, mate. I mean, both those blokes have been outstanding. They've over 130 games each, and contributed a hell of a lot, and you couldn't ask for a better way for those blokes to go out. I think it's fantastic.
Enjoy tonight.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll enjoy the next couple of days.
Yes, a moment to be cherished for Canterbury rugby fans. A special night, not just for Canterbury though, but for New Zealand rugby. A night that this wonderful competition once again came up with the trumps, and we farewell four men who have epitomised what is good about New Zealand rugby. Todd Blackadder, Matt Sexton, Steve Hansen and Brendan Laney. Good rugby players and loyal.